Next up, we've got the Harley cut-in speaker kit with instructions. No. This is going to be the wire harness that you wire into the bike. Speaker gaskets. This is going to be the pigtail for the speakers. Now we have the matching rear speakers, 6x9s by NVX. We're going to see if they'll fit in that Hertz kit. Hertz says that only their speakers fit, but we're going to take these out and see before we go to cutting up the bags. It appears as they do fit. Screw holes line up. There's a little spot right here. We may have to trim the edge of this off to make sure that the grill fits, but I think it's going to be fine. Alright, so with our amp installed, there's nothing else we have to do up here. So we can go ahead and put our front fairing on. So with our main fuse disconnected, now we're moving on to do saddlebag speakers that are cut-in style. We unplug that harness, push it out of the way, and we've got to pin the harness, which is a dual harness. It's got tour pack plug and saddlebag plug, but we've got to remove this and depin and pin it into there. Voluntary Audio has some good instructions on how to do that, and then we'll have to route the wires that go to the bags. But let's get this pinned. So I'm going to take a pick, pry this down so that'll slide off, give us a little more access to it. On the inside of this plug, I'll get a better picture of it, pull in or pull out the locking sleeve in there, and then we'll be able to pin this. There's two big holes. We're going to try to grab those with some needle nose or a pick and slide that out, and that'll unlock the pins in this connector. Got it out. Now it's pin 5, 6, and 7, I believe. Alright, we're going to push or pull these white filler pins out. Press a pin in there and they'll slide right out. That is, this label here is 6, so this will be 6, and then 5. The other side is labeled 12. So you've got 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So 7 and 8 are going to be on this corner. 5 is going to be solid green. 6 is going to be green with the black stripe. Now these have a little hump on them that will fit one way in here. It'll go all the way in and click. It's real hard to push in there. We can pull it in the rest of the way with our needle nose until it clicks. I'm going to make sure all of these are straight. The solid is going to go to 7. And the black stripe is going to go to 8. So, based off of this, you've got 6, 7. 7 is going to be solid purple. Pull it in till it clicks. And then last, we will put in the purple with the black stripe. Now we just want to make sure all of our pins are straight so that nothing gets bent or pushed or anything when we go back in with our pin lock. This is the same on both sides, so it should slide right back in. All of our pins line up, so we're going to press it the rest of the way down. All of our pins are sticking out, so that's good. Now, the rear is wired for sound. So we can go ahead and reconnect this and reconnect this. Get our tools out of the way, and then we can route the wires that have to run down here to go to the saddlebags to hook up speaker wires. All right, folks. So we have our harness here. This harness is labeled brake and the belt. That is pretty obvious once you lay it out. One that says belt is going to go on the belt side of the bike, and the other is going to go on the brake side of the bike. Now both of these plugs are going to be the same. One's going to be for the tour pack and one's going to be for our saddlebag speakers. So it doesn't really matter which one we plug it into. Plug it in, get a good click. And then what we'll do is figure out the best way to route these. Okay. Trying to run it underneath this frame rail. We can pull some slack out if we need to, depending on where we drill the hole in the bag to plug this thing in. We probably actually don't need this much out. And we'll zip tie it to the factory mounting points on the subframe or on that rear frame to hold that up. And then we'll come back and tuck all this here with a zip tie to clean it up some. Let's go to the other side. So on this side, let's see what we have room to do. If it didn't already have the terminals on it, we could run it down between the fender and the frame, kind of the way the factory does it. But this looks like we'll run it underneath that harness so that we can pull it down and tuck it. We'll run it above this ABS pump, below the frame rail, get it pulled around, and then there's enough room here that we can run it behind this frame rail, and then we can zip tie it to the factory mounts here, pull whatever slack we need out depending on where our hole is going to be to plug that in. And then of course we can zip tie this wire up to kind of get it out of the way. And just like that, the saddlebag speakers on the bike side are wired. So next we will have to modify the bags. So we're at the point now where we are installing speaker lid speakers. We've already wired the pins on the factory harness, routed the wires to the bags. We've still got to put the wires in the bags, and then we've got to cut out these lids to mount our new speakers. I put the bag back on the bike just so that it would have some stability. Any sort of cutting, I'm going to double check before I cut anything and cut the bag. And then any sort of mess we make will also be contained in the bag and we can just vacuum it out. I'm going to start by trying to tape the bag to protect the paint. This is our cutting template. And it sits very snugly. I want to make sure that we've got it pushed all the way against the bag in the front, all the way down on the top and on the sides. And now the kit came with screws. There's 3 screw holes here. We're going to screw this into the bag, and then we should be able to just trace this and get it cut out. After looking at the instructions, We're going to need to take out these screws here, take out that strap, lay that inside. We're going to have to cut off this bracket and a little piece up here. I actually decided that I'm going to remove the lid. It's a T15 Torx. I'm going to remove the lid so that I can trim off this piece and this little piece here. So this is our insert that's going to fit inside the bag here. It has a weather seal on it, but if you look, confirms this bracket here has got to come off, and then we have to trim this piece here. So let's get that cut off. They say you can just take snips and get that snipped off. Got it off. Now I'm going to take a sander and I'm going to flush those up. Got those trimmed out. So we've got the lid taped up. We set this in place. We push it back, make sure every side is flush. It fits really well. We're going to put 3 screws here to lock this down, and then we can trace it and cut it. So you push the front, make sure the front is flush. Check the side. Still good all the way around. So with the template put on, we know where we got to cut. We're going to start. We'll probably drill holes in the corners just so we have a good starting point. This Milwaukee Mini Sawzall with a little body saw blade in it. It's very small. It should do the trick. Be able to control the throttle and cut slow. We're going to use a pretty decent sized drill bit to get in these corners. That way they have a nice round contour to them. So now, with the holes drilled, we can come back and start cutting. We're just tracing the bottom line of the template there. It is officially ruined. So now I'm going to come back, I'm going to take a file and maybe a little bit of sandpaper and clean up this edge, get rid of any sharp points and make sure everything lines up good, and then we can go to getting the speaker mounted. Let's just take a look-see. Look at that. Woo! We also want to set this in place. We're gonna have to screw the speaker in first and then we'll set it in. So we've got our speaker here. It has a seal weather strip on it. Do one of two things. We can either glue the seal here. I think their instructions are to put the seal on the speaker. I like the idea of sticking it to the plastic here, as this is a little bit rougher edge and allows the foam to bite it. But I also want to test fit the speaker. We're going to put the terminals facing the rear. And let's make sure that everything fits and lines up. This corner, I may take a little bit of this corner off of the speaker basket just to ensure that we get the proper fit. So I'm going to peel a little bit of the gasket material. So now we have the gasket installed. Let's get the speaker screws. We'll get the speaker mounted. In the kit, they provide some nice screws with built-in washers. So we'll get these started and get this last screw in here, get it tightened up. Now before I go to install that, I've got some new bag levers. Let me change those out. All right, let's check out the new ones. This is our new bag lever. That screwed back in, tightened up. So now we're to the point of installing that speaker. I want to get this side pulled back in there a little bit better, a little bit further. So I may have to put something under here to kind of get this piece lifted a little bit. It may also help if I loosen the screws. We'll loosen the screws, see if we can pick it up a little bit. Got it under the lip back there. In an effort to try to make it a little bit easier, there's a little bit of gasket material on this, and I want it to sit as flush as possible. So I put it in place, put some tape on it. Now when we set the speaker assembly in it, we can line up the screw holes. So I had to unbolt this latch assembly to get it to lift up so that everything would kind of slide in place. So after fighting with those screws for a while, we've got the speaker mounted. We've got the hinges, latch system all back reinstalled. So we need to plug our wires in, and we're going to route them here with the hinge. We can do that on the bike. So we'll go ahead and put this, mount the bag back to the bike, and then we can route our wires, figure out where we're going to put our hole to leave the bag with them, and then we can do the other side. Man, it's hot out here. Got the lid reinstalled. The new levers, everything's latching. The strap, got a little weight to it. So we're going to route the wire, and we're probably going to go back behind the strap, and then maybe around here, and then put a hole here to run it out. So the speaker in the bag, I hooked up the wires, ran under there just to hold it, and then we're going to route the wire around the bag. It comes with some tabs that stick on, and you run a zip tie through them to hold them. Here's our pigtail right here, and I think we're going to have the best bet going out the bag about right there. No clearance issues. So we'll take the bag off, mark it, drill a hole, run this through, hook the grommet, plug it in, and then this bag will be finished. So I'm going to find the flattest spot here, kind of center that up. We'll drill a pilot hole first. Then we're going to switch to a stepped bit. We're going to go slow and steady. So we're looking for a 5/8 hole. So what I've done is one past, I marked it with the black Sharpie, so I know to stop when I get to the black line. So with our hole drilled, make sure we get any leftover plastic off of there. We'll feed the wire terminals through, and then we will work this grommet in. It's going to fit tight, but that's fine. We want it to be tight because we'd rather it not leak. All right, so there's that. We're going to go over to the bike, plug this in, make sure we get this tied up where it's not going to hit anything, and then we'll route it to the speaker, plug it in, and then this bag will be finished. Hello. So we just plug that in. Yep. We can do a little bit of adjustment, moving the wire to where it's not going to be in contact with anything. So that'll work there. So now, looking in the bag, we're going to route it over here and get it plugged up over here. We can actually pull some of the slack back through so that we got a little bit more working room. Do something similar to this. We'll clean the bag up, and then we'll take the tabs, stick them, zip tie the harness up, plug it in. This side's finished. So the kit comes with these. They have adhesive on one side. They're designed to run a zip tie through, and then you can put it around the wire. And so then we could take the adhesive backing off, stick it somewhere like here. Do another one here, here, and here. I'm going to try to keep it just below that sticker there. Press it down good. Move our slack. Just like that. And then we get another one probably here and here. So there it is. Wire mounted. I don't love it, how the wires mount, but it's functional. It works. Do the other side and then we'll try it out. All the stereos installed, saddlebag speakers installed, the amps installed, the front speakers installed, the exhaust is installed. Got a lot of things installed. Still got to do a couple more things. We got a skid plate to put on. We got to finish up some of the 1K service items. But I'm going to show you what all the speakers look like now, and then I'll get a video of what they sound like. Looks stock.